this video, we're going to review how to find the vertex of a quadratic function, but we're also going to go over how to find the axis of symmetry, find the maximum and minimum, and find the y-intercept. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the vertex. Once we find the vertex, finding these others, like the axis of symmetry and the maximum and minimum, is going to be pretty easy. Y-intercept is also fairly easy to find. So let's start by finding the vertex. To find the vertex of this quadratic function, I need to use this little formula right here. Remember, this needs to be in standard form, where this is A, B, and C. Negative B means the opposite of this. Opposite of positive 4 is negative 4. And then I take 2 and multiply it to A. Remember, there's a 1 sitting in front of this. Negative 4, 2 times 1 is 2. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. I have the x coordinate for my vertex. To find the y coordinate of my vertex, I take the x and plug it back into this formula right here. That's negative 2 squared plus 4 times negative 2 plus 5. Negative 2 squared is negative 2 times negative 2. That's positive 4. Always do my exponents before I do any multiplying or dividing. Multiply these two together. That's positive 4 times negative 2. Now I need to do my adding and subtracting. 4 minus 8, negative 4, and negative 4 plus 5 is 1. My y coordinate for my vertex is 1. So my vertex, there's my x coordinate, there's my y coordinate. To find the axis of symmetry, we would use this formula again to find the axis of symmetry, but I've already used it. To find the axis of symmetry, I need an equation. So I'm going to take the x component of my vertex and write an equation of a line that would go straight up and down that goes through this point right here. That would be x is equal to negative 2. There is my axis of symmetry. And remember, it needs to be written as an equation. Next, I need to find a maximum or minimum. I look at my A. If it's positive, remember, it opens up and it's going to have a minimum. If this is negative, it's going to open down and it's going to have a maximum. So does this one have a maximum or minimum? I look at A. It's positive. If it's positive, it's going to open up like this to give a visual, and that means it's going to have a minimum. And what is the minimum? It's going to be along the y-axis. So I'll look at my vertex, which is going to be right here. That's going to be the minimum point. The y component of that is 1. Now I need to find the y-intercept. To find the y-intercept, I need to figure out where this quadratic is going to run into the y-axis. But look at what my x value is. No matter where I'm going to be on this y-axis right here, my x value will always be 0. I'm not going to move over any. So to find the y-intercept, I need to do this. I need to plug in x is equal to 0 into the equation and then simplify. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find the y-intercept of this. So y is equal to, everywhere I see an x, I'm going to plug in a 0. 0 squared is 0. 4 times 0 is 0. Once I add all that up, I'm going to get my y-intercept is going to be 5. So remember, to find the y-intercept, I need to plug in x is equal to 0 into my original equation. Solve it and I'll get my y-intercept. Because wherever this quadratic function crosses the y-axis, the x will be 0. So let's do another example where I find the vertex, the axis of symmetry, the maximum or minimum, and the y-intercept. So the first thing I'm going to find is the vertex. To find the vertex, or the x-coordinate of the vertex, I need to use this formula right here. I'll look at my equation. This is A, this is B, and this is C. I plug in the numbers. Negative B means the opposite of this. That's going to be negative 8. 2 times A. Remember, the number in front of this is a 1, and since there's a negative, that's going to be negative 1. Negative 8, 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, and a negative divided by a negative is a positive. This is my x-coordinate for my vertex. To find my y-coordinate, I'm going to take this number and plug it into the original formula. This is negative x squared. That means negative, and whatever x is going to be squared. It's a 4. Plus 8 times 4 minus 20. I'm going to square this. I need to do my exponents before I do any multiplying. Right on the outside out here, that's an 8 times 4. This is a negative 1 times whatever 4 is squared. So I have to square this and then multiply it by negative 1. 4 squared is 16. Now I'm going to do my multiplying. This is negative 1 times 16. Negative 1 times 16 is negative 16. 8 times 4 is 32 minus 20. Negative 16 plus 32 is positive 16. And positive 16 minus 20, negative 4. I have my x-coordinate and I have my y-coordinate. So I can now write my vertex. My x-coordinate is 4. My y-coordinate is negative 4. To write the axis of symmetry, this equation indicates that this quadratic function opens down like this right here. The axis of symmetry runs through the vertex right there. It's going to be an equation of a line that goes straight up and down through this point right here. That means my axis of symmetry has to be the equation of a line, and it's going to be x is equal to 4. Is this going to have a maximum or minimum? It's going to have a maximum. What's the maximum going to be? The maximum is going to indicate along the y-axis. The maximum is negative 4. So this does not have a minimum. The maximum is negative 4. What is the y-intercept? To find the y-intercept, I need to take my original equation and plug 0 in for the x's. So the y-intercept, y is equal to negative 0 squared plus 8 times 0 minus 20. 0 squared is 0, times negative 1 is 0, that's a 0, minus 20. My y-intercept is negative 20. This is how you find the vertex, the axis of symmetry, the maximum for this one, because this one's going to have a maximum. Here is the y-intercept. All these things are going to help you eventually graph these, being able to find the vertex, the axis of symmetry, the maximum, minimum, and the y-intercept. All those will help you graph these on a graph. Looking at A, telling whether or not it's positive or negative. Positive, it opens up. Negative, it opens down. All these things will help you graph these quadratic functions.